Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. What is it? Dave always has the titles for the days. What is today? Thankful Tuesday?
Today is Shawn, Dill, and Lacey. Book yourself solid time. I'm super excited. I got off the plane from Hapon and Manila, and it was a thriller. We had such a great time. I broke my boy Nick, so he's fixed now that I'm back. But I am super excited to be here and hopefully inspire other people to live their life with the passion, the purpose, and the profitability that all three of us live our lives with.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am, sir. So great to have you here on Tuesday. It's fantastic. I love it.
I love
so great to be back with you. Lacey and I were in Scotland. Got to play some
jealous.
Otherwise, we would have been with you. We were going to go on that trip, but now we have to just wait till Egypt.
No, we're going to see each other coming up here.
But like our long trip is our Egypt trip together.
Exactly. Hey, if you guys are digging this content and you think that your energy can mix in with the three of us, we have an event coming up on July 15th. You can reach out to any of the three of us. David's got his email as his name, david@dmeltzer.com, Shawn at Black Diamond Club, Lacey at Black Diamond Club. Direct message us on social media. We'll get you information. We're going to be hanging out at SoFi on July 15th. Doing a podcast mastermind. You guys want to get in on that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. When the three of us get together, lots of really cool stuff happens. We put you on the path to getting book solid. I feel like we're getting our rhythm with the show. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's be honest. I mean, all the shows that I do, there's just a chemistry between the three of us. And too bad Julie won't ever come on with us, but there's absolutely even more chemistry when we have Julie. And I have many stories. We have so many stories from our trip. You guys, next time we go to dinner, just sit back, buckle up, and listen to Julie. I got a few to add.
But can I say never? Because when we were in Scotland a year ago, last week, Julie did teach with us. And we had one of our experiential masterminds, and she got in there in the mix. And she was teaching with us. So I think one day we can get her to cameo on here for sure. I have faith. I have faith.
Super excited. We're beginning to roll guests in. And so if you'd like to be a guest of the Get Book Solid show, let me tell you what we're looking for. We're looking for people who help other people to get book solid. So we want to have you on so you can share your knowledge so that we can all learn and we can continue to fill our books with people that we serve, people that we can help to do great things in the world. And we're also, because this is Get Book Solid, we're looking for people that do something super cool, that have the coolest services, that are looking to get book solid, so we can feature you here on the show as well. Reach out again to any of us if you would like to come on Get Book Solid. We would love to have you. We would love to share with you and see how you can help us, how you can help the audience, and how we might be able to help you.
And there's one more type of person I want to have on here, if it's okay with you two. It's people that are book solid. So there's people who help people get book solid. There's people, who want to be book solid, but they're, one of the things in the coaching that I'm doing, so many people are overwhelmed because they're over book solid. And so if you're one of those people that are handling prioritization and have systems and frameworks and philosophies and a perspective on what to do when you are book solid, come on, join us. We got Lacey book solid with us, so we're ready for you.
I don't know if you know this, that the second book after Book Yourself Solid, that one of our plans is to re-release this book, retool it. Maybe that's something that we could do with you, is called Beyond Book Solid. So what is there? What lies? Because listen, in the service world, nothing works, right? We dream when we start out, right? You dream of having just one coaching client. Then all of a sudden you have too many coaching clients. And then the dream turns into a nightmare. And you have to figure out how to get beyond book solid, because if you do not, then the service suffers and the business crumbles, right?
So smart. And prioritization is absolutely different for everyone. And it's so good to share different stories from different people. Besides, you two are both frequency people. There's so many things that we talk about that when you bring on a guest, they may say something similar or exactly the same, but it seems to resonate better with the audience and the community. So I think different voices are certainly important.
Well, speaking of that, let's bring on our very first guest ever on Get Book Solid. Congratulations. What an honor. Dr. Enrico Dolcecore. He has a tremendous event that he is putting on coming up in Canada for anybody who is looking to get book solid. And so we're super pumped to have him. And beyond that, he helps people get book solid through social media. Enrico, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Hey, Dave. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
This is cool. And we actually called the event Get Book Solid. I mean, this is all coming from everything I've learned over the years from Book Yourself Solid and the principles. And we're able to get Christine Zapata up there, the author of Book Yourself Solid for Chiropractors. So it just all kind of came together. It's awesome. She's going to be a keynote speaker there. Why I picked the Canadian Rockies, I have no clue. But you're lucky if you live in Canada. That's where I'm from originally. So it's my backyard. But we're doing it there as the first one. I hope this turns into maybe an event that's annually or something, and we just hop around all over the place. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been helping people stay on the cutting edge of digital marketing and for solo providers, just doing it themselves in their office. I think it's the best way to do it. Just because of the reach. You got to stay close. You got to stay around your brick and mortar location. And so I take on coaching clients for that, and it's just grown by itself.
That's super awesome. You know, anytime I'm around Dave, the mastermind is oftentimes around social media. I mean, in my world, there's no one who does it better than David Meltzer. But that requires a lot of work. He has a great team, great support. You teach people how to get started. So I would love to hear first your take on that. And then maybe some advice from Dave on how he got started to being internet superstar and internet sensation that he is.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. For me, it's just being a solo practitioner, a service provider myself as a chiropractor, just from 17 years ago, before Facebook, before all these things, going to screenings, the local rodeo, do whatever you need to do to get people to sign up to be a client. And then, Facebook comes out, Instagram comes out, and we barely post on there. And it just organically, as I moved and relocated and restarted up, like a restart in my career, I was like, I got to get into this stuff. I really got to be a part of it. Otherwise, I'm missing everything. I'm missing this free audience. I'm missing this free exposure, which always had to be paid for. You had to get like a yellow page ad for like $1,500 for half the page, put it in. I remember helping my dad with his construction company for this. And now you get to scream on social media to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people of what you do. So I was like, this is dumb. And then it just kind of cascaded by itself. And the louder you got, the more new patients you got, the more you got. It was just amazing. And things have changed. And now the consulting part is because of how rapidly they change. Meta changes things almost every other week now. It used to be a few updates a year. Now it's like every other week. Some policy changes are coming out a lot. So I help practitioners specifically stay on the cutting edge of that so that they can keep it in-house. Once you get to David Meltzer level, now you can hire people, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. But a lot of service providers are on the small business side of things, let's just be honest, trying to get to a medium-sized business if that's their goal. Otherwise, they spend their entire career as a small business. So a lot of things have to come in-house.
Before we hear from David, I want to know because you use the word cutting edge multiple times. What do you consider cutting edge?
I think just staying on top of the algorithms and what they're asking and what they're needing, instead of just shooting out a bunch of pictures all the time or just writing a bunch of text all the time. Just staying on the algorithm and where your audience is actually looking and where it's being directed to is always kind of changing. It used to be your friend list. Now it's relevancy on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter is still chronological. If you just post 100 times a day, you'll win. You'll win Twitter. Just keep posting. But Instagram and Facebook don't work that way. You post 100 times a day, you're going to lose relevancy because you're spamming or you're overexerting your audience. So those are the things that change all the time. And Facebook and Instagram used to be chronological. The newest post at the top of your feed. That's changed. It's now relevancy. And the relevancy is like the matrix. So I'm not telling you I know what Zuckerberg's thinking. I don't even know the guy, but the algorithm works that way. So that's why I spend my time staying on. I don't know if I know 100% of it, but that's where it is.
It's so smart. And a couple of things came to mind. Original SEO was naming your company AAA Construction, AAA Chiropractic. That was the original SEO.
That was the name of my dad's company, AAA Construction.
Exactly. That's the original SEO. It just came to mind. I was like, you know what? I never thought of it that way, but it definitely was. Also, I'm going to be up in Canada next week at Collision. So anyone up there, come by. We're going to do a meetup there as well. We have Austin Eckler and Meta World Peace. All of us are sharing a stage for a few hours. So it should be really cool. It's interesting because in the smaller aspect, when I got started as an individual, you know, it was different in one respect that you could just post a lot and relevancy wasn't an issue. I still think you need to have a cadence and a timing to posting, and most people don't post enough. So I definitely want to make sure, you know, when he says don't post 80 times a day like on Twitter, you still need to post every day, and you're better off posting actually at the same time, just no matter what the different changes are. What I think is most important when you start out, especially in your field, is a lot of people never get comfortable. And whether it's their podcast, their content, etc., one of the things that I did to start was just to get comfortable. And I suggest people start capturing first and not posting. So if you're on a podcast, I always say do 10 podcasts before you ever post one of them. Number one will put you in the top 1% of 3 million podcasts because most people quit before they get 10 done. But two, it'll give you a comfort level to find your essence, your groove. And remember, as much as you want to know what Zuckerberg's thinking, what I find that builds your brand best is for you to be you. And what's going to happen if you learn to be you is that all it takes is one person to beat the system, meaning that when I speak my truth, my essence, and then one person that may have even a bigger following than me resonates with me, they share it. And now their community is at their frequency, and then they share it. And pretty soon, no matter what analytics are involved or diabolical scheme of Instagram and TikTok, etc., the one thing they always like is content that's shared. Mm-hmm. It's free advertising for them. And so the only way that I know to have things shared is, one, play the odds and post every day. I think 3 times a day is a great cadence. At the same times, you may disagree. Do once a day, but you need to post every day, which most people don't. But two, it's more important to be at your essence because it will break every system if people start sharing your shit. And if they're sharing it to people that are engaged with you and follow you and will be your clients and tell other people to, you know, it's a community. The most important thing is get comfortable at the start. And so don't worry about posting, worry about capturing, sit there and watch your own videos with it painful until you are comfortable saying, hey, this really represents who I am, not who I want people to think I am.
You know what? No truer words have been spoken. And I've lived that truth for sure when I tried to force myself to do content that was inauthentically me. And when you say like, watch your videos back, even if it's painful, the reason it's painful is because you know it's not you, right? And so like, if you're watching your videos back and you're cringing and you're like, oh, I do not like watching this. I do not like seeing this. Oftentimes it's because you're not showing up as a true representation of yourself. So for any of you out there that are doing content and putting yourself out there and you look at it and say, I don't like that, ask yourself, like, where's the gap? Where am I not being who I truly am and who I want to show up as? because you can see clearer than anybody that that's not you. And I think that that's really important to be able to have that self-reflection on, for sure.
Well, we can't let Enrico get out of here without telling us about this event. Tell us about this Canadian event you're putting on.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Canadian Rockies, absolutely beautiful time of the year in July 11th and 12th, outside Calgary, Alberta. You fly in there, you come join us for 2 days, $3.99 to get to this thing. Go to bys.enricod.com, and you're going to get in the room with Shawn Dill, Ed Osborne, David Fletcher, who's big in the chiropractic profession, and some others as well. And we're just going to mastermind and get you to implement the strategies that are working today to see growth and to scale your business immediately when you show back up on Monday. Hopefully you stay for the week and enjoy the Calgary Stampede that's going on that week too. So again, bys.enricod.com, go right there. That's our landing page. Reserve your tickets and just find your way to the Canadian Rockies. You can't miss them. They're the biggest mountains in North America.
And it's the only 2 weeks of the year it will not be snowing. They guarantee it. So
well,
it's
I'm
amazing.
not going to say any guarantees, but probably no snow when you show up. No, it's going to be beautiful. And then we're golfing on Saturday too. So we made it a great event.
I love it.
Sounds fantastic. I hope that everybody will take advantage of that. bys.enricod.com. Grab your tickets. Come out to sunny Canada and spend some time in Canada. Hey, listen, Canadians haven't been able to travel for a little bit too. So, I mean,
there's a hidden reason why I'm doing this. It's political. It's the Canadians have been squeezed into a box, especially the solo providers. And I feel for them. I kind of feel like the guy who the fugitive, like Harrison Ford, that left just in time, got out of there and got to watch from the sidelines of it just falling apart as far as, freedom of speech and all the movement. It's just the government control on everything. And they feel it. I coach them, so I know we speak freely about this stuff. And I was like, man, let's just do something pumped up. I don't have my license up there anymore, so they can't stop me. And I can go and say whatever I want, come back to the freeland and then do my thing, right? But it really, that's where it all stemmed from. So I feel for them. I think if you're out in Western Canada, like drive out there, get out there anywhere in Canada, hop on a flight, hop on WestJet, get out there and join us, because we're going to change things immediately. Some of my coaching clients are coming to this because they're excited about what we're going to put in just 8 or 12 hours together over 2 days. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, everybody. Enrico, thank you so much for joining us. Super appreciate you. Best of luck with the event. I hope that everybody will get signed up for that. All right. Well, we have our next guest. Dave, you're going to love this next guest. Lacey and I have had the pleasure of meeting her previously. We have Stephana Johnson coming in. And look at that.
Look at the color coordinated book.
I know. It's so much fun.
Stephana,
my books are so much happier.
welcome to Get Booked Solid. Listen, I know that you're on the journey to booking yourself solid, and you are looking to reach executives. You provide a very special service to executives. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that executives face when it comes to leadership, when it comes to discovering themselves, and as we were talking about, showing up as their true, authentic selves.
Yeah, that is a great question. Well, as you know, leaders are driven. They are high performing. There's high expectations. And oftentimes they're being pulled in a million different directions. And oftentimes they don't have the time to take care of their own needs, right? Even at the most basic level. And I think that sometimes, there's the burnout. But it's more than that. It's that at some point there's been a trajectory, because leaders naturally are creators, innovators. And when they're in that creative energy and innovating, there isn't this, you probably don't want to take the time to go and do some basic things like, I'll put it to the car, right? Your car's not going to go anywhere if there's no gas in it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that way with the body. And I've been working with leaders in some capacity or another for 30 years. And I've seen award-winning Grammy artists and Academy winners. And I've seen what happens when they get off stage and all of that energy that's thrown at them that they're giving out, right? But then there's so much energy coming back. So there's a different experience that's going on, and then all of a sudden they're off stage, and if they are not whole within themselves, that's when you see them start to break down. And I would say that's probably one of the number one reasons I do what I do, is because a lot of times those leaders don't have someone who truly has their back. They have everyone else's, right? They're trying to do so much and create such a positive impact, and oftentimes they feel siloed. So I've seen that. I saw that early on in my career. I saw that early on in my own life, and there was a point where I just took a stand and said that that's unacceptable in my world, especially for those that are here to make a positive, profound impact. And I know what happens because I saw behind the scenes when let's say a celebrity who most everyone knows, and there were the entourage pulling and almost sucking the life out of them, but they don't have the time to prune the vine, right? Get rid of those things. So they really need someone who's in there for them, supporting them, and that isn't there for their own interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's really important, because I want to talk about something that you said, and I want to go back to it. You said oftentimes when they're not whole is when we see those things happen. And I think that a lot of us have been in that position as leaders, to where certain times in our life or certain seasons of our lives, we have diluted parts of us that cause almost a weakness, right? And if we're not, like, I love what David talks about, the non-negotiables. If you don't have non-negotiables in your life, and you allow the agendas of other people or other things infiltrate, and you dilute parts of yourself, it's really hard to stand up and stay strong and do the things that are necessary and required of you. And it can be exhausting at times. And I think it's not just unique to CEOs; it's unique to all leaders and people that are givers, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's an interesting experience for yourself to recognize that and be okay to say, okay, that's it. It is time for me to take care of myself. It is time for me, even just the basic fundamental pieces, right? So building those habits in, that's what I talk about in Lead Stronger Longer, is that it's about those fundamental basics, right? Those incremental habits, right? Is if you're doing anything in a negative way, that will compound. If you're doing something in a positive way, that will compound. So it's that concept. And David, I have your book. It's blue.
In the blue.
So it's in my blue.
In the blue section. I love it.
You share some really good insight in there with regards to that, especially how you burned out. But I'm going to have you on my podcast in a couple of weeks. I cannot wait to talk about that. How you literally transformed that whole piece where you were, in that silo experience, and then were able to come out of it and come out so much stronger. It's amazing. And with your relationships intact. And I think that's really key, because we want to lead ourselves purposefully, both personally and professionally.
Yeah. And you said something that really resonated with me that a lot of people don't think about. You said when leaders come off a stage, they've just received so much energy. And I study energy. I study the physics, the quantum physics, the metaphysics of understanding energy. And a lot of people won't understand when they go to a mastermind, even with Shawn, Lacey, and I, and they leave, and there's actually a physical breakdown that occurs.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I see, Stephana, that you do really well is we all need some sort of energy traffic cop, because it's not just what are we doing to interfere with this source, and that's the perspective I'm looking at. What am I doing to interfere with this enormous amount of energy available to me, an omniscient, all-powerful energy? But a lot of times we just aren't capable as individuals, just like we aren't capable why we go to therapists, why we go to chiropractors, why we do different things, because we can't and couldn't be aware of. And so I see people like you at such an important role for leaders. Is as leaders, we need these energy traffic cops to say, okay, these people are bleeding you. they're completely relative. Your family, your entourage, your company, whatever it may be, but also the energy cop of, okay, you just received a lot. You just did $1 billion deal, or you stepped on, you're Taylor Swift and you went on tour for, you need an energy cop. And I think it's really important to manage your energy, not just with non-negotiables in time, but with somebody who can help you to elevate your awareness to what's actually happening so that you can be more productive, accessible, and gracious.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that I would use energy cop, but
I love it.
I would definitely use, I am
Spiritual
that
bouncer is what my
A virtual bouncer, energy
my
bouncer.
coach has often referred to it as, and specifically to Shawn, as my spiritual bouncer, because we all need that, right? Energetic cop, spiritual bouncer, whatever it may be. Because oftentimes, like you said, Stephana, you said there was a point in your life where you said this is unacceptable. So many of us have difficulty, even when we feel it's unacceptable, holding tight to the boundaries, right? And I think that that's why what David is saying is having somebody else that says, wow, man, we really infiltrated those boundaries. You had a lot of energy thrown at you. You need to go find a place or a space to rejuvenate or do A, B, and C. Because otherwise, sometimes as leaders, we just keep pushing through, right?
Yes.
We need somebody to find that for us.
Yes. And it goes back to that wholeness when the leader is completely in their center and tapped in, and they understand the different firing on all cylinders. I like to talk about multiple cylinders, right, that you're firing on. And some of those, if you have the gauge and it looks like one's at 2 and one's at 10, if 10's maximum, and then you've got a 1 over here and they're all over, we need to get them leveling out so there's more balance as opposed to just all over the place and pulling. And then when we get that wholeness, then we can elevate everything in a more integrated way. A lot of times folks will talk about the right-left brain, but we're not right-left. We're not stronger. We're not a right-left brain. We are both. We are whole. And when we understand that, we can then use skills, which is something that's really important that I give to my clients, is they need to have those skills for themselves. I can't be with them 24/7, right? So they need to have skills to be able to level up and level out those energy points that come in, whether it's a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, right? They need to know that and have that skill. And so when we understand that, then we're building them in a way that's in harmony.
Absolutely.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah.
That's key. Yeah.
Well, any executive, or even if you know an executive, maybe people feel like, man, you're talking about my wife or my husband, or you're talking about someone I
Executive of the
know.
household.
How can people get in touch with you and get more information on your programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So powerhouseleaders.com is a main website for my leadership coaching. And then I would say stephanajohnson.com if you want access to wonderful tools, or my podcast where I'm going to have David on soon, and hopefully Shawn and Lacey soon. Lead Stronger Longer podcast will come out on stephanajohnson.com. But powerhouseleaders.com is a great place to start. And in fact, I think James is going to put a link to powerhouseleaders.com/mindfulness masterclass, because everything happens twice. First in the mind, and then in our physical world. So if you don't get that mind right, you can't expect your physical environment. And the environment includes your mental things that are going on as well. So we want to get that right. And I'd love to gift your audience that.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
PowerhouseLeaders.com. Make sure you check out Stephana Johnson at StephanaJohnson.com. Stephana, thank you so much for being on Get Book Solid. We super appreciate your contribution.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Love it. Being whole.
Dave, did you learn anything today?
Oh, I learn every single day, but I learned on this show especially. And what was really interesting was the energy side of both the guests, and understanding how important we utilize the energy that we're given. And it's not just a perspective of interfering with it, it's managing the energy. And so I think both people manage the energy in the respect of the internet. You're really managing your essence, your energy. And I think, Lacey, you really elevated what I was thinking when you talked about gosh, why do I cringe when I watch myself? Because that's a management of energy of like, hey, I'm forcing this. I'm trying to be something I'm not, and it's exhausting. I remember when I first did my first TV show, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be like? And the director is like, hey, you've got to be yourself, or it's going to be really exhausting, especially if you're in 8 seasons of the show. If you're putting on an act, it's exhausting. So I just management of energy was my biggest lesson, and I'm going to go back and reevaluate. Plus, I got to get off the show really soon because I have to color coordinate all my bookshelves in my house.
Hey, I just want to wrap up saying this has been sort of a culmination for me. Today, I was talking to a bunch of my clients, 2 of my clients, in successive calls, talked about return on investment. And I was telling them, listen, return on investment doesn't always show up in money. It can show up in other forms. Specifically, I think that we also need to calculate time and energy. And so, when you talk about, I was thinking about when you receive, you need to appreciate, add value to, and then set it free. And then when Stephana was talking about receiving energy, I was like, wow, it's the same way, because people like you in Lacey and I's life, you add energy to us. And then I was thinking, man, we have to get better at receiving that energy, appreciating that, and then setting it free. Hopefully doing a show like this together is a form of sharing that energy with the rest of the world.
It's my weekly reunion, and I love it. And for that very reason, you guys are incredible. And this is, like I said, my favorite place to be with, my favorite people to be with. So get booked solid with Lacey, Book, Shawn, Dale, and myself. I'm in heaven. We should do this like 4 times a week, to be honest.
We should.
Well, we appreciate every single one of the 1,800 seconds that you gifted us today. Thank you so much, Dave. Let's do it again next week, shall we?
You got it, my friends. Thank you. Call me later.
All right, everybody. Next week, we'll see you on Get Book Solid.